You can see that look in my eye. You can see that look anytime soon. Ain't gonna stop anytime soon. Roll while I cry.
Here we go again. I mean, this is here we go, and there's more. And there's more. And there's more. I mean, this is the truth show. I mean, this is the truth show.
Please note that this is all alleged.
I've never met any of these people. I've deeply researched all of my information.
This is a trigger warning in this video.
I may be talking about or showing sensitive material about some subjects or topics that may be disturbing or upsetting or may bring forth some troubling memories, as you read in the description or title. With that said, either in the video now or brace yourself. Aside from that, enjoy.
Hello, everyone. Hello, welcome to The Truth Show. Now, I just want to say this. I started actually typing a script on the 12th. So we're going to kind of do a recap and go back. I hope you guys are ready for that. I'm going to still give you some current news and things of that nature. Sorry if I miss any news. You can always put in the comment section and say, hey, Keisha, you forgot so-and-so, so-and-so. And then I can just pick up from there. Make sure you hit the like button, okay? Now, today's headlines are loud, messy, and full of half-truths. And y'all know I don't do confusion. I do clarity. So let's break down what's really going on with Trump and Iran. I've heard that name pronounced in so many different freaking ways. Iran, whatever. So whatever name I use, just go with the flow, okay? Just want to point that out. Okay? So we're definitely going to talk about that. We're going to talk about Pam Bondi is suddenly claiming she's getting threats. I know you guys heard about that. That's kind of old news, but we're still going to talk about that still. And then we're going to talk about why Meghan Markle and Harry isn't showing their son and why the Jackson family is furious about the new biopic. Also, why isn't there any women in the Bible or in the book of Enoch? Oh, yeah, we're going deep today. And please don't hesitate to converse in the comment section. You guys can comment. Make sure you share. Definitely share. Share if you care. Not sure where I got that from, but definitely share. Okay. Let's start off with Trump's war. All right. Now, this is a big one, Trump and Iran. This situation is not new. It's a continuation of a long, complicated relationship between the U.S. and Iran. But the escalation we're seeing now, that's political theater mixed with real world consequences. Now, here's the truth. Trump is using Iran as a pressure point. It's a show of force, as we all know, okay? A distraction and a way to rally his base. I mean, let's be realistic here. But Iran is not a country you poke without expecting a response, because that's what he was expecting. But he's definitely getting his awakening and truth now. Now, this isn't, how you doing, Indra? Now, this isn't Twitter beef. This is geopolitics with nuclear implications. You see, here's the thing. And the part the media won't say out loud, both sides are performing for their audiences. You know what I'm saying? Both sides are signaling strength, and both sides know the world is watching. So when you see headlines screaming war, understand this is about power, perception, and positioning, not strategy, not democracy. It's positioning. You understand what I'm saying? Okay, so Trump is trying to show some muscle. He's trying to dominate. He's trying to be a bully, because that's what worked in his entire freaking life. And he thought he was able to do that with Iran, but that's not currently happening at the moment. You know what I'm saying? It's backfiring big time. You know what I'm saying? Big time. Okay, So Iranians here's the thing that's going on that a lot of people probably don't even know because they're just not paying attention or they just don't care. But here's what's happening in terms of, Iran. Here's more truth about what's going on with Donald Trump and declining of his dementia and his health. Now, I'll get into what the psychics and things of that nature and people of that gift are saying in terms of his health, which they have been saying ever since he became president. But you know what? For now, let's look at these clips. And then I get into more details about Iran. Make sure you hit that like button. Make sure you hit that like button.
Just suggested that we shouldn't even be in Iran in a rare moment of truth for him. Now, this was last night on Air Force One, where Donald Trump was talking to reporters and was asked about other countries sending warships to the Strait of Hormuz. And during his pitch to other countries, he made this confession.
And they should come and they should help us protect it. You could make the case that maybe we shouldn't even be there at all because we don't need it. We have a lot.
Yeah, maybe we shouldn't even be there at all because we don't need it. There, Donald Trump is suggesting this whole thing isn't even necessary. And now it should be noted, he later went on to say, it's because we don't need that oil. We've got enough of our own, which also seems like an admission that the whole thing has been about oil. Donald Trump is struggling mightily to keep his story straight. What the reasons are for going into war with Iran and what the goals are. And in a moment of truth, he seems to suggest, we probably shouldn't even be there. And here we are now stuck in it, and he needs somebody to bail him out.
All of the NATO allies agreed with us, but they don't want to, despite the fact that we help them so much, we have thousands of soldiers in different countries all over the world, and they don't want to help us, which is amazing. I mean, amazing. And I didn't do a full court press because I think if I did, they probably would be. But we don't need help. That war has been long prosecuted as far as I'm concerned. Almost from day one, we knocked out many of these things. We knocked out the Navy essentially in a couple of days. But I was surprised to see that NATO, while they agreed that it was a very important thing to do, they agree fully. Nobody said, "Oh, you shouldn't do it." They would have had a nuclear weapon within 1 month of when we had the B-2 bombers bomb the nuclear potential. I call it the nuclear dust. So I think NATO's making a very foolish mistake. And I've long said that, I wonder whether or not NATO would ever be there for us. So this was a great test because we don't need them, but they should have been there. The other thing is, and I think, very important. We didn't have to be there for Ukraine. Biden chose to spend hundreds of billions of dollars on Ukraine. And I guess the head of Germany just made a statement that, they weren't involved and they have nothing to do with the war. But at the same time, they think we did a great thing by knocking them out. Nobody wants to have Iran or anybody, but nobody wants to have Iran with a nuclear, because these people are crazy. They're absolutely crazy.
The president is dealing with the first major defection from his administration over his decision to go to war in Iran. Joe Kent, the director of the National Counterterrorism Center in the Office of the Director of National Intelligence, posted his resignation letter to President Trump online this morning saying, quote, "I cannot in good conscience support the ongoing war in Iran. Iran posed no imminent threat to our nation, and it is clear that we started this war due to pressure from Israel and its powerful American lobby." Kent went on to say that he believes high-ranking Israeli officials and influential members of the American media deployed a misinformation campaign, creating an echo chamber that deceived Trump into believing that there was a clear path to swift victory. This was a lie, Kent wrote. Now, he said that as a veteran who deployed to combat 11 times and as a Gold Star husband who lost his wife to what he calls a war manufactured by Israel, Kent cannot support sending the next generation to fight and die in a war that serves no benefit to the American people. Now, Kent's late wife, Shannon Kent, was a Navy officer, military cryptologist, linguist, and intelligence team member who was killed in a suicide bombing in Syria in 2019. Now, we expect to see Kent's boss, the Director of National Intelligence, Tulsi Gabbard, testify on Capitol Hill later this week in a long-scheduled hearing on worldwide threats. The resignation will likely be a central piece of questioning from Democrats in that hearing, and we'll watch to see how the president handles questions about it if he gets them in the Oval Office in just a couple of minutes, guys.
All righty. Yeah, so you guys see that. Some of his camp is definitely falling out. Joe Kent is not the only person that's kind of stepping down in Donald Trump's camp. It's been kind of, a rude awakening for him, and I'm so glad it's happening. It needed to happen. It definitely needed to happen. I'm glad it's happening now. Okay. All right. So here's what's really shocking to me, and I just learned this literally yesterday. Just learned this yesterday. Apparently, Iranians crossed into the northern Iraq for cheaper food, internet, and work after border reopened. So they're crossing the border to live. This is what the Iranians are doing. Although the leaders are fighting each other and they, trying to save each other. Well, actually, Trump is not trying to. He's just trying to be a bully. Iranians, the Iran leader is trying to save his country, but Trump is not doing that. He's just doing it because he's a bully and he's just a sheep and a puppet to those who are, pro-war, so to speak. Okay. Oh, I'm doing fine, Taylor. Thank you for being the one holding it down. Love you, girl. Indra. And same to you. Okay, make sure you guys share. Okay, so here is the tea right here, okay, about these Iranians crossing into the northern Iraq. They're crossing into Iraq. And it's crazy. Their countries are fighting against one another, but the Iranians are seeking solitude and nurturing in Iraq. Oh, yeah. So, ladies and gentlemen, today I want to talk about the real life struggles, okay, facing ordinary Iranians as war and economic hardship gripped their country for the first time since the conflict began. Dozens of Iranians crossing into the northern Iraq. Oh, yes. Looking for cheaper grocery, internet access, and a way to contact family to find work. These people, many of them, Iranian Kurds, they used to cross for trade and family visits, but now Iraq's Kurdish region is a lifeline for survival because, their countries are fighting against one another all the time. Can you imagine standing there? It'd be fucking hell. The war has caused constant airstrikes and sent food prices skyrocketing in Iran. Imagine not being able to make a simple phone call. Many Iranians now have to travel miles across the border just to get online, buy essentials like rice and cooking oil, and let their loved ones know they're okay or alive. One woman, for example, crossed just so she could call her family and bring back grocery for her kids. Oh, yes, it's terrible. Count your current situation. Count your beautiful life that you have right now. And thank the cosmos. Don't thank God because, he's a genocidal maniac. But thank your ancestors. Thank your struggle. Thank yourself for surviving, for having the luxuries that you have now, because many people will trade their lives for it, okay? I'm grateful for my situation. Do I want more? Yes, but I'm still grateful. Okay, so others are facing even tougher realities. Oh, yes. One elderly woman now left penniless after losing her son, a smuggler. Listen to this. A smuggler shot by Iranian soldiers. This is how bad it is. Walked across the border in the rain. So her son got shot by, a smuggler, an Iranian soldier. Okay. So she walked across the border in the rain, desperate to find relatives for help because she can't feed her grandchildren or pay her rent. Now, she isn't alone. Many women and men travel for work, leaving their families behind so they can earn enough to survive. Meanwhile, we have these big freaking leaders fighting each other, and they're not even thinking about their people. They're thinking about themselves. They're not thinking like all these people who are staying here, they're going to end up dealing with the ramifications and the outcome of this while I'm sitting in my little condos and mansion, guarded and stuff. They are the ones who's going to suffer because we have two freaking egotistical leaders fighting each other for selfish goddamn reasons. The war and these wars has to stop. This male dominancy need for war has to stop. There's other ways to get what you want without combat. I mean, this has to stop. Seriously, it's getting old, it's getting annoying and quite freaking stressful. Always war all the freaking time. So the constant bombing has made life dangerous, forcing people to leave their homes or live in fear. Iranian authorities targeted by airstrikes are hiding in cars, schools, and hospitals because their bases have been destroyed. This is what Trump did. This is what Trump and Israel are doing. This is what they're doing, killing innocent people, their livelihood and everything. And I'm telling you right now, Trump don't give two flying shits about any of that stuff. But yet he still have MAGA people worshiping him and saying he really cares about America. He don't care about America. If he cared about America, he would worry about our schooling, our oil, our grocery, our tariffs, our bridges, our roads, our ecosystem, environment. I can go on, but I think you all get the picture. So he's not worrying about that at all. He's worrying about that ballroom, lining up the billionaires' pockets and his pockets. Even though he's going to leave this world naked, he's not going to be able to take any of that with him. But, whatever. I haven't really leave either. So anyway, so here's more tragicness and reality of this whole horrific situation. So while the Iranians are hiding in cars, schools, and hospitals because their bases have been destroyed, people are scared, prices are out of control, and every day is a struggle just to get by. In short, the war has made daily life in Iran so desperate that crossing a border into Iraq isn't just about visiting family, it's about survival. You have to go to your enemy, the ones who's trying to literally bomb the entire country that you probably grew up in. You have to go beg them for survival. Can you imagine being in that horrific situation? So this is the human cost of conflict. And these stories remind us that behind every headline, there are families just trying to endure. So we see these headlines of war, but we need to look at the inner ramifications and the bloody details of the people who are living through this shit. While we have big mock leaders fighting each other, are they thinking about the citizens of these countries? Are they thinking about who's suffering the most? Are they? Or are they just thinking about themselves, using our taxpayer money to pay for this shit? Why they just sit up there and just play Monopoly or checkers? Oh, there's more tragic news. Unfortunately, it's going to be a tragic goddamn newscasting. All right, so while this is going on, okay, let's talk about the crisis that's hitting travelers. While we have these leaders fighting each other over their selfish, stupid fucking reasons that can be done in a corporate business meeting with just regular debate. You don't have to go to war. Just have a business meeting and work out some shit. That's it. No war. But they want to go to war. They want to kill each other. See bombs and things blow up. It's fun. They've been playing with their toy soldiers long enough. They want to do it in real life, you see. Yeah. So while this is happening, let's talk about the crisis that's hitting travelers across the country. The CEOs of 10 major U.S. airlines have come together to urge Congress to end the ongoing partial government shutdown, because we are still in it. Why? Because this shutdown has left tens of thousands of airport security workers like TSA officers and air traffic controllers without pay. And they have bills. Now, if this keeps up, airline leaders warn we're looking at even more headaches at the airport, especially as spring travel picks up. If it picks up, considering the state of our demographic with these wars, with these selfish, bloody, thirsty leaders, I don't know if that's going to transpire. But anyway, now already passengers at busy airports are facing hours-long waits to get through security. Some are missing their flights, and in many cases, they aren't even getting refunds. On top of this, a big winter storm is threatening the central U.S., which could make things even worse and impact millions of travelers. Just recently, over 2,600 flights were delayed and more than 1,600 were canceled in a single afternoon. Did you hear about it? No, you got to look at news blogs. Now, these airline CEOs representing companies like American, Delta, Southwest, United, and more wrote an open letter asking Congress to get moving right away. Please fund the Department of Homeland Security and pass new laws to make sure airport workers still get paid during government shutdowns. Because Trump used airline, his predecessor used airlines, his staff used airlines. So you would think this would be a very important thing for him to say, okay, we're not going to include Homeland Security and their workers in this government shutdown. Let's keep them off of it and in a special fund so that won't be affected by our selfish, unable to make a decision or deals that we're currently dealing with at the moment. Because before Trump took office, this wasn't a problem at all. At all. It was fine. It was, I think Biden, judging from how he got the freaking job after how Trump left it, you know what I'm saying? He got it pretty calm. It was pretty cool, calm and collect. Trump came in there and tore everything up in a matter of 100 goddamn days. And now it's a year and it's a complete catastrophe. The whole world is seriously in uproar. He's like a pressure valve leaning on to the passing age, you know, to old times. He's like an endless virus that keeps coming back, that won't go away no matter what you do to try to get rid of it. That's what he is. That's what his cult members, his MAGA supporters, are definitely treating him as. So, trying to get Congress to make new laws to make sure airport workers still get paid during government shutdown, they called out 3 specific bills: the Aviation Funding Solvency Act, the Aviation Funding Stability Act, and the Keep American Flying Act, which is a beautiful vote for it. Put that in the atmosphere, my witches and my spiritual working people. But you religious people, don't pray to God because it will never get passed. He don't care about this. He likes his drama. This is really up his alley. Him and Trump are mirror images of one another. Seriously. I'm not trying to, knock your Jesus-loving selves, but this is reality. Look it up. Look how many people he killed. But we're not going to religious aspects at the moment. Now, the timing can be worse. Now, with spring break travel in full swing, the FIFA World Cup coming to the U.S. soon, and America's 250th birthday celebration is on the horizon. Airlines are expecting a record 171 million passengers this spring alone. I won't travel anything. I'll cancel all that shit. Cancel all these competitions. Anyone who has to travel, there's Zoom, there's virtual camp. You might have to do this virtual. You have to be there. Do you have to physically be there? I mean, if there's papers to sign, you could do that through the internet as well. I mean, do you really physically have to be at these meetings? If it can't be done virtual, like you have to be there, okay, I understand that. But if it can be done virtual, keep your ass at home and do it virtual. Because I won't even take the risk of being stranded in an airport for days like some of these people are, or standing in line for hours. Nope, not going to do it. So I will urge these big business conglomerates who have people traveling back and forth not to do it. And people who are planning vacations, don't take vacations. I'm sorry. I know it's really heartbreaking when it's your loved ones. Try virtual, try FaceTime, try to do it virtual. I know it sucks, but just don't travel until you know who is not you know who. Okay? I won't even take the risk. I know it's very, very inconvenient, but why take the risk? Okay? They're not going to have 171 million passengers traveling. I can tell you that right now. That's not happening. I won't travel you know what? Spring break is going to be at home today. Okay. It's going to be another COVID moment for me. So sadly, many TSA workers are already running out of money and struggling to pay their bills, and they're filing bankruptcy left and right. So bankruptcy attorneys are making big bank. This isn't the first time either workers face the same struggling during the last major shutdown. Yeah, it was a lot of bankruptcies filed. As the CEOs put it, Americans are tired of long lines, travel delays, and flight cancellations caused by shutdown after shutdown. Now, right now, air travel has become a more political football, and it's passengers and the workers who are paying the price. But Trump don't think about that because he keeps flowing around and, the U.S. jet and airplane. He don't care. It's not bothering him at all. It don't affect him at all because he's a rich person who don't know how it feels to struggle, but he will. Now, to make matters worse, even the TSA's own apps and wait time trackers are down because of the shutdown, leaving passengers to search for updates on airport websites. In short, if Congress don't act soon, travel frustrations are only going to get worse for everyone, and you don't want to see that happen. You don't want to see that happen. Businesses will freaking struggle. We need our airline. We definitely need it. And this is getting so annoying. I cannot believe this is happening. I feel like we're in a nightmare that just won't freaking end. Seriously. It's annoying. And I'm still not done yet. I still got more bad news for you guys. I hope you are ready for it because it's bad news after bad news after bad news as it has been since that orange Cheeto has been president. So I'm going to go through this real quick. Seriously. This particular slide I'm going to go through real quick. Okay? So stay with me here and keep up. Now, a demand for, here's this news here. Okay? This is regarding this here. A demand for help opening Strait of Hormuz, Germany, Australia, and Japan say they won't be joining U.S. efforts, while the UK and France say they are willing to discuss options, meaning they're just trying to keep the peace and ask what's in it for them. So our predecessors, NATO, are not helping Trump, which I said they weren't in the first place, because I won't. They're not trying to put their citizens in harm's way for this fool. I won't. So he's pissed off at them. He's threatening with everything he could. Not working, but you know how Trump is, okay? Now, Trump is also, now that's what he's doing. Trump is threatening to not sign any laws that come to his desk, okay? Unless they pass the Save the Vote Act, here's what the Save the Vote Act does. It gets rid of citizens from using their driver's license or state IDs to vote. Instead, we all need passports, which could cost a lot of money and sometimes hard to get. And most Americans don't have passports. Yes, the Republicans are trying to make it harder for regular demographic people to vote. Yes, they're once again trying to cheat the midterms. Yeah, that's what they're trying to do. Now, Trump was also caught lying about talking to former presidents about their approval of this war in Iran. He said, Clinton or some president said they were okay and they applauded him on his war effort in Iran. Well, Clinton, Obama, and Biden denied such talks, meaning as usual, Trump lied, as he always does, because he's a pathological liar. Okay? That's what Trump is. He lied. And they called him out, and then every newscast in the world just blasting him for lying. Like, Trump did, and former President Biden, Clinton, and, okay, all of them said, no, we did not speak to him. He is lying. They literally said that. Seriously, it was quite beautiful to watch. Okay, now Trump was also called, I'm not even done with the lying. He lied about a lot of things. He lied about speaking to foreign leaders about peace treaties. He said an Iranian leader was begging him for a peace treaty. He did not. Iranian leader didn't beg for any because you killed his entire family. I think what he probably agree on is your head on a fucking stick. Or, something along those lines. I can guarantee this man is not trying to seek no peace treaty, especially with their ass after you killed his entire fucking family. Whatever. Okay, anyway. So Israel said Tuesday it killed this is what's happening here, as you can see here. Israel said Tuesday it killed 2 senior Iranian security officials in overnight strikes in a major blow to the country's leadership. Iran, which did not immediately confirm either death, fired salvos of missiles and drones at its Gulf Arab neighbors, and Israel in a war that showed no signs of abating. Yeah, so bombs are being dropped all over the place in Iran. Yeah. So Israel and Iran is still fighting each other, and the soldiers are dying, and so on and so forth with that. Okay, White House Chief of Staff. This is White House Chief of Staff. You probably see her because she's always standing alongside Trump, and Trump looks at her every time he signs some goddamn bill or whatever, or some thing he's trying to bring into law or some shit like that. She's always there giving an approval, and pretty much the one of the voices behind Trump's decisions, believe it or not. You go back and you see her ass standing right next to him in the Oval Office giving approval to sign shit, and that's real. Evil ass woman. So White House Chief of Staff Susie Wiles diagnosed with breast cancer. Yes, the prime person that led Trump into a lot of evil, selfish crap, such as defunding the DOE, the Department of Education, and many others. Oh yes, there's videos of Trump asking Ms. Wiles' approval before signing something. Oh, I'm not done yet. It seems convenient that Cuba. It seems that convenient that Cuba's electric grid is out, and we know who's behind this, don't we? Who's been saying all over the news that they were trying to attack Cuba? Yeah, I don't know why this man is interested for. Never mind. So yes, John Bolton, who wanted to bomb Cuba and has long been one of the most aggressive foreign policy hawks in U.S. politics, earning a reputation for pushing military action over democracy. Okay, yes. Across multiple administrations. As Trump National Security Advisor from 2018 to 2019, Bolton was widely reported as the loudest internal voice urging strikes on Iran, consistent with his decades-long advocacy of regime change and hardline confrontation in the Middle East. I mean, the man is very violent and very sick. His hawkish worldview predates Trump. I mean, the man is stuck in medieval fucking times. I don't know why they haven't put him away or put him in jail for causing all this chaos and havoc, or took away his citizenship or something, or worked some legal arraignment to see if he's even a true fucking citizen. So this man has a hawkish worldview that predates Trump. Now, Bolton was a major proponent of the Iraq War. Yes. So he should be considered a terrorist, and has repeatedly argued for using force against governments he considered hostile, including Iran, North Korea, and Cuba. Now, analysts note that Bolton's influence contributed to Trump's world. I mean, this is real. So, contributed to Trump's world withdrawal of many deals, but we're going to talk about Iran, nuclear deal, and his public commentary. Now, he continued to pressure on Trump toward the military escalation, even after leaving the administration. So he was still in Trump's ear, telling him to do this, bomb here, bomb there, bomb there. And Trump, dumbass, did it. He tried to get the other presidents to do it, but it was like, no, why would we do that? It's stupid. I mean, it's not back in the day, we just bombing people for no reason. No, we're not doing that. You threaten us, and if it escalates to bombing, we may do that if we can't work out a deal without causing violence. That's where we were before Trump took office. Took us a long time to get to that point. Now, Bolton's career, as documented, this is facts, in his biography and public record, reflects a consistent pattern. He views democracy, I can't even speak, but you get what I'm saying. Diplomacy, I'm sorry. I don't know what the fuck I'm saying. Democracy. What the fuck was I saying? You guys should have told me I was saying that incorrectly. Diplomacy. I'm in the zone, seriously. His views on diplomacy as weakness, and multilateral agreements as constraints, and military actions as the most effective tool of U.S. power. So yes, John Bolton needs to go, and he is acting like a terrorist, and he needs to be silent. Witches, do your thing. Oh, I'm still not done. There's still more. Okay, this picture here. A federal judge in Boston has blocked key parts of Health Secretary Robert F. Jr.'s attempt to overhaul U.S. vaccine policies, including reducing the number of vaccines recommended for children, which I agree. The judge sided with major medical groups, stating that Kennedy's changes were made unlawfully and could harm public health by decreasing vaccination rates. Now, the ruling also removed Kennedy's appointees from a key vaccine advisory panel and invalidated previous votes to ease vaccine recommendations. Now, this decision is seen as a significant win for public health advocates, though the government may appeal, which I hope they do. Now, the case highlights growing tensions over vaccine policies and concerns about the anti-vaccine influence in federal agencies. I personally think some of the vaccines dumbed down our kids. I remember I had to get those vaccines, and they made me feel like I was always high or something. I couldn't even think. I take my daughter to get it, and she more than likely felt the same way, like she was high and couldn't think or something. I don't know what the fuck they was doing, but those vaccines are not needed. So I think it dumbed down the kids, because it's got to be a reason why you got to have your child before, was it 5 months or 6 months? It's been years since I had to do it. They got to have all these vaccines and shit, as if, okay, I need to hurry up and dumb their brain down, before their brain become in full capacity, because when a child born, they practically almost halfway to their full cerebral capacity, which means the only thing they're trying to work on is trying to get aligned with this world that they come in to. You know what I'm saying? Which is why their language is always, blah, 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 but their thinking and alert system is right on point. They just got to get aligned with the current life that they're living in. But with the vaccines, it slows down the growing process of their brain. Other countries don't need them. Other countries and continents don't need them. And their babies and kids are fine and even smart at very young age. At 2-3 years old, they're doing way advanced stuff. Now, I will order a deep investigation, a lab check on the ingredients of some of these goddamn vaccines and how does it affect a baby's brain function and growing process. What is the long-term effects going down the line of these vaccines? When's the last time they checked it? And who ordered these vaccines? Let's find out who did that too. Get to the root cause. So when it comes to these vaccines, I'm on Robert F. Kennedy's side. I am. Okay? I'm just going to say I'm on the fence, but I'm just saying. I never like all those vaccines. There's some sinister behind them. Some of we need, but the gross amount that our babies need is ridiculous. So that definitely needs to be investigated. I'm with him with this. Seriously, I'm with him with this. Meanwhile, and this is going to be into the quick recap right quick. Hey, did you know that Iran supported the Black Lives Matter? Oh, yes, Iran. Yeah. You know, the country that Israel and the Trump, the dump is currently bombing and killing innocent people. Yeah. They actually supported Black Lives Matter. As you can see here, supported. Here's the post from the leader. Iranian students did a full rally with, African American solidarity. Oh, yes. They was really on the George Floyd movement and most Black people. They posted several tweets showing their support, even in 1979 kidnapping with that Ayatollah. Ordered the release of the 13 hostages, all women of African American color descent, claiming they were already oppressed people and therefore unlikely to be spies. So he let go all the colored and African American people during the kidnapping in 1979. That's what he did. Iran, the country and continent, country that Trump and Israel is currently bombing for selfish reasons. Oh, yes. So now let's shift from global to domestic chaos. Let's go ahead and shift a little bit. Yeah, shift a little bit here. But before we shift, remember I told you that Bolton guy, the one who needs to be in jail because he caused chaos and havoc and acting like a terrorist, and they should have been there through his ass in jail a long fucking time ago. I don't know why he's still living or why he's even still in politics. Yeah. Remember he said he wanted to get Cuba too. He said he wanted to get Iran, but he also wanted to bomb Cuba. And there's actually video footage of him saying that on national television. This calls for investigation because not too long after, Cuba electric grid is completely out, and we know who's behind that, don't we? So we're no longer freedom and whatever you want to call it, even though technically some of us people of color don't know what the hell that means, but you get what I'm saying, okay? We're no longer that anymore. We are the terrorists and the bullies. That's what we are right now. Okay, no one likes us anymore. No one wants to come here. We're not the land of, oh my gosh, I need to go there and start a business, have a family, and live free. Yeah, there's going to be some racism and yada, but not as grotesque if we're going back 50, 60, 75 motherfucking years. No. We're not there anymore. Okay, well, we are going to get to the land of free and spiritual thinking and all this crap that's going on right now. I can guarantee you this time next year it will not be like that anymore. We'll be in a recovery process and we will be able to exhale. Now, however, remember I told you John Bolton wanted to get Cuba? Well, let's take a listen to this. This is not a coincidence. I can guarantee you he is behind Cuba's electricity being out. He is behind this. And if I was Homeland Security or whoever is supposed to be behind this investigation, I would definitely be looking at emails, call logs from John Bolton and his little homeboys and see was he behind this whole thing here, because this caused for him to get arrested. Take a look.
Cuba's electricity grid has now completely collapsed.
Hold up, wait a minute. Let me start over.
Cuba's electricity grid has now completely collapsed. The whole island is out of power after the US effectively starved it of fuel. So no fuel means no electricity, it means no water, unless you can afford to buy it very expensively from the black market. And there are now reports that even that is a struggle. So this is the first national outage. There have been local outages before, which have kept the island going. But when the whole system goes down, it's much harder to get back up and running again. So this is becoming critical. So not having electricity has been an inconvenience perhaps, but now it could very quickly turn into a humanitarian crisis if the hospitals can't operate, if the emergency services can't get about, not to mention what's happening in schools and homes. So President Trump is the only person who can solve this by allowing oil to get to the island again. They had relied on oil from Venezuela, but Trump effectively cut that off. It's just not very clear what Trump wants from Cuba to allow this stranglehold in the island effectively to be released.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yes. This is getting out of control, ladies and gentlemen. This is getting freaking out of control. Now let's shift from global conflict to domestic chaos. Let's talk about someone who just loved being in the news. Let's talk about the evil incarnating himself into a woman. I say him. I don't know what gender evil is. No one knows. But anyway, we're going to talk about the Pam to the Bondi. Okay. And we're going to go back to when we were talking about how she was getting threats. Now, Pam Bondi is back in the headlines, and not for reasons she wants. She's claiming she's receiving threats after her involvement in the Epstein document release drama. Now, let's be clear. Any threats toward anyone is unacceptable. Unacceptable. No matter what my personal feelings about this woman and fantasies and dark, evil fantasies I may have had, threats are not acceptable. But we also have to look at a pattern here, okay? Now, Pam Bondi has been at the center of the controversy for years, from her decisions as the Florida Attorney General to her public defense of Trump, not the America, but Trump. And now with the Epstein files resurfacing and her name floating around in conversations she does not want to be part of, but she is. Suddenly she's saying she's being targeted. Is she? I don't know. Now here is a psychological layer. Now, when people feel the walls are closing in, even just socially or politically, they often shift into victim mode, which she is known to do. Now, it's a way to redirect the narrative, which she is a pro at doing. Okay? Now, it's a way to say, don't look at what I did. Look at what's happening to me. I mean, who cares about these Epstein files? Okay? I don't give a damn about these files. Okay? Or these victims. They're threatening me. That's what's important. Now, I'm not saying she's lying, but I'm saying the timing is quite freaking interesting and pretty damn convenient. Okay? Oh, remember, let's not forget that the Bondi was questioned in the House of Judiciary Committee, hearing primarily about the Justice Department's handling of the Jeffrey Epstein documents and related investigations. Remember that whole circus of an act? On national television, her embarrassing American people and herself. Now, remember, let's not forget the Bondi is good at what she does. Bondi is a pro at diverting and baiting, diverting the conversation and baiting. She diverts to another subject of some headline or something, and then she baits whoever she's currently being questioned by, either with insults or whatever, that gets them riled up and their focus get diverted. Diverting and baiting. That's what she's good at doing. She's been doing it for years. This is how she wins a lot of her cases, because she makes everyone rattle. And now that she's under Trump's spell, from victim to, well, you get the gist. There's nothing convincing her. She obviously has some serious deep psychological daddy issues. Okay, this is rooted for whatever relationship she had with her father. Now, it's no convincing her. She's gone even as far. I mean, you gotta understand, this way of her acting is not new. Her family has said this. She has always been like this. Always. This is not something that's been a spur of the moment. You got to understand, this woman was the fucking DOJ when the whole trafficking thing was in Florida. Not the entire time, but she was there, and she made sure it stayed covered up, and they never got any justice. The victims never got any justice at all. She made sure that didn't happen. She's literally a female incarnated of pure unadulterated freaking evil in blonde hair. Well, it's not her real blonde hair, you know, whatever box of blonde crap that she used. I don't really know. Anyway, take a listen to this because I think you guys need some convincing. Here's a family member who is literally saying that she has always been like this. Always been like this. Listen to this clip here.
Aunt Pam Bondi's my aunt, and if you're wondering, yes, she's always been like this. And no, we do not speak. Pam has always been a liar, according to my family. Apparently, when she failed her bar exam for the 19th time, she showed up to court and tried to use her safe serve bartender certification to defend her second cousin and boyfriend from his third DUI. When Pam was in college, she tried to use her SNAP food stamp card. A bar, she painted it black with a Sharpie and tried to say it was an Amex black card and that she was Paris Hilton. When the bartender told her that she wouldn't even make it as a Hooters girl, Aunt Pam got thrown out and then apparently bought a bottle of Thunderbird, came back sloppy, and tried to quote Julia Roberts from Pretty Woman, but she ended up falling over. But apparently Aunt Pam has been like this since she was a kid. Story goes that Aunt Pam used to run around Tampa saying, "I'm going to be just like our hometown hero, Hulk Hogan. Blonde, rich, and racist. And boy, do I love the fact that his first initials both start with H. H, Hulk Hogan." This is just satire. Pam Bondi is not my aunt, but God, is she awful. So if you like me roasting awful people, be sure to follow along.
So yes, please go follow him. I'll leave his link below. So, I'm not done yet. So yes, Attorney General Pam Bondi appeared before the House Judiciary Committee. Okay. In a hearing titled Oversight of the U.S. Department of Justice. But the session quickly centered on the release and redaction of documents related to convicted sex offender Jeffrey Epstein. Now, Democrats criticized Bondi for allegedly orchestrating a cover-up, heavily redacting names of an individual implicated in the file because she don't care about the victims. She only cover up for the pedos, you see, the pedos and the criminals. You know, people like her. I don't know if she's a pedo or anything, but she's damn sure a fucking criminal. So that's what she's for. You know, that's what she is. She don't work for the good people. She work for the evil people. Okay? That's what she is. That's what she's going to be, and that's what she's always been. Even incarnated herself. A woman in fake blonde hair. She made blonde women look so evil, and I know they're not. Anyway, so she definitely redacted names of individuals implicated in the files while failing to protect the identities of Epstein because she want people to go after them because she don't care. Some of the women who were presented at the hearing, as we know. Now, Bondi defended the Justice Department's action, stating there were pending investigations. There is no pending investigations, and emphasizes her career-long commitment to fighting sexual abuse. She did not do that. She actually got abusers off, but whatever. Anyway, the hearing become more contentious, I should have said, okay, with multiple shouting matches between Bondi and Democratic lawmakers, including Jasmine Crockett, Ted Lieu, Pramila Jayapal, over the Department of Transparency and Treatment of Survivors, which you guys more than likely saw. Now, Democrats pressed her to apologize to the victims of the DOJ's failure to fully redact sensitive information, but Bondi declined to even look at them. Instead, criticizing the lawmakers and defending her handling of the files, like, how dare you even insult me for what I did? And why you asking me to look at these fucking victims? I don't care about them. That's literally what she said in so many actions. Now, the hearing also touched briefly on other DOJ matters, such as recent killings by federal immigration agents, but the Epstein files remained the primary focus. Bondi's performance was seen as both a defense of the Department actions and a public alignment with former President Donald Trump, who she praised during the proceedings and always continued to praise. So remember, Pam Bondi is not for the American people. She's for herself. Now, I know this is probably tracking back, but let's look at a little bit more of this because I think you guys need to see the actions on what she's going to portray in the upcoming hearing of the House. Okay? Remember, she divert and bait. Divert and bait. That's what you always do. If they are able to get her from doing that, which she has been doing for years, they got her in. Now, try to break Bondi. I don't know if she has an Aquarius in her. Good luck with that. But she has no feelings. She don't care. She really don't care. It's not, okay, she's putting up a good act. No, she's put up a good act. You could eventually break her. That means act is acting. It's not real, which means your real emotions underneath it. But if you don't have any emotions, it's not acting. That's who the fuck you are. And you don't even see a bit of emotions even in her eyes. She really don't care. So listen to this.
The world is on.
Hold on just a moment.
Ron, I get it. We have to pay attention to that, but we also have to pay attention to what else is going on in the country. Today, Pam Bondi testified for a budget hearing. Aside from her saying about 50 times that she's a career prosecutor, I want to show you this part specifically about what she says about prosecuting people and what Representative Dean says. Here's how it went.
Officer, someone spit on him, we charge them federally. We will charge you if you spit on a law enforcement officer. If you loot under the Hobbs Act, that is a robbery, and we will charge you with robbery. We are going after the maximum penalty federally for anyone who touches a federal agent, and we are also going to protect our state and local law enforcement agencies and officers. They jeopardize their lives every single day to keep us safe, and we are going to do everything in our power to fight for them.
Sounds good, right? Till you think about January 6th. Enter Representative Dean.
I just wonder, sincerely wonder, do you hear how hollow your last words sound in light of the pardon of all of the January 6th people, day one of this administration? I believe you're sincere. You want to protect law enforcement, but your principal, the president, pardoned every single one on January 6th. It rings hollow when you say these words, that if you spit on a police officer, we're going to go after you. Talk to my friends who are Capitol Police officers who were here, 5 of whom are no longer here. They are dead. And this administration, and I guess I want to ask you, did you have any advice for the president when he came forward with the blanket pardon on January 20th? What advice did you offer the president?
I am never going to talk about conversations, advice
Were you asked
anyway.
Were you asked
I'm
for
never
advice?
going to talk about discussions I've had or
Because
have not had.
You'll
I can
remember.
answer with the president of the United
Yes or no?
States.
Did you give him any advice? Yes or no?
I am not going to discuss any conversations
That's a
that
no.
I have had with it.
And
You just put
your
words in
own
my
word.
mouth. I am not going to
No, I'm
discuss.
going to reveal your own words.
I am
Just
not
a moment.
going to
Please stop.
discuss
Please stop. This is
conversations
my
that I've
time.
had with the president of the United States.
Attorney
You asked me a
General,
question.
I would like to reclaim
and
the
you
last
asked
20
me to
seconds.
answer.
I have asked to reclaim my time. Please put 20 seconds back on the clock.
You have an extra 30.
If the general,
She answered and then answered it again and answered it again with a non-answer. I ask for your consideration
If the
of putting time
gentlelady
on.
will
Yeah,
let
I
the
have 30
witness
seconds
answer the
extra to begin
question.
with.
We will.
She
proceed.
answered it by saying no. Okay. The 3 hallmarks of this administration are incompetence, corruption, and cruelty. I'm going to focus today on corruption. And in my mind, there are 2 types of corruption: personal, and then the other I'm going to call public, governmental. Attorney General, have you ever been registered as an agent of a foreign principal under the Foreign Agents Registration Act?
I assume you're talking about when I represented the country of Qatar for a very short time.
The
Hold
answer is
on.
yes. No,
Hold
excuse
on.
me.
No.
No.
For anti-human trafficking for the World Cup. Anti-human trafficking
or
for the
no?
World Cup. You
Attorney
can't
General.
put words in my mouth.
No.
You want to talk about incompetence? You're the one that
Excuse
said Joe Biden on PBS was competent. You had to retract those.
Remember I told you she baits? You're seeing it. I told you she divert and bait. Divert and bait. Whether it's diverting the conversation and avoiding the question or baiting. This is her strategy. It has always been her strategy. Pay attention and learn and spread the word. I hope they already know this already, but you get the gist. And it's kind of low. This video is low. I had it high, so you might have to turn your phones up or TV up or whatever. But it's not me. It's the video.
Those words.
Mr.
Don't
Chairman.
talk to me. Don't insult me publicly.
This is so discourteous. This is so outside the committee's guidelines. taking a personal shot at me while swiping at Biden? Very strange and very unprofessional of you. The answer is yes or no, and the answer is yes. You were registered as a lobbyist for Qatar. Is that correct? Yes. Never mind. Don't answer. Did you disclose that when you went before for the Senate for confirmation? Yes or no? No, it was not in your documents. The answer is no. President Trump.
This was discussed at my confirmation hearings in detail.
It was it was discussed, but you failed to bring up the conflict that you had. President Trump recently announced he'd accept that $400 million Qatar airplane because it was just prettier than the one he was flying around in. Is it true that you gave advice that this was legally permissible? Yes or no?
I will not discuss any advice that my Office of Legal Counsel gives to the President of the United States on any matter.
When you spoke before the Senate, you said you would ask for ethical advice. Did you recuse yourself from that issue?
And talking about unprofessional, you say the president wanted a jet because it's pretty.
Excuse me.
This is a Senate. This is
He
a
said it himself.
congressional hearing.
He said it himself. Let me go to April the 2nd. You're a part of this. You know, the president has dabbled in meme coin. He had you, the DOJ, disband the National Cryptocurrency Enforcement Team. His son recently launched the Executive Branch Club, a private club with $500,000 memberships here in DC. Any of this seem like it might be a problem, might be profiteering from the office, and maybe you and your ethics team might be concerned about these conflicts of interest, your own and the president and his family? Yes or no? Any concerns?
What I would be concerned about in Pennsylvania are all the child sex cases that we've prosecuted, all the CCM cases that we've prosecuted.
Did you hear
in
my question?
Pennsylvania.
I
That's
asked
what
the
I would
witness
be
to
concerned
actually
about.
answer questions that are asked.
Congresswoman Dean.
Chairman,
Please let the witness answer the question.
she didn't. And I would like to ask you one more question. You're not just complicit in this, you're actively helping and profiting. Isn't it true that on April the 2nd, the same day that Trump announced his chaotic tariff regime that plummeted the stock market, you sold more than $1 million worth of your shares in Trump Media stock? Trump Media stock fell 13% in the following days. Seems you avoided that loss. Well done. I yield back.
Just to be clear, the United States Attorney General, who was a lobbyist for Qatar, filibustered the entire hearing. She even refused to give her personal opinion on whether or not the pardoned J6ers were pardoned indefinitely because of some J6ers being arrested with illegal guns. They're claiming that they've been pardoned. So this shouldn't count. This is what we're dealing with. We all have to pay attention to everything going on in this country.
Domestically now, we've seen lawmakers late today vote to subpoena the Attorney General for the way her department has handled the Jeffrey Epstein investigation. You saw a handful of Republicans, right, so people in the president's own party, joining Democrats on the House Oversight Committee to vote to bring Pam Bondi in, including Nancy Mace, the congresswoman on the Republican side. Watch this.
I have a lot more questions, and I don't expect to be talking about the stock market. So she better not bring those notes when she comes to the Oversight Committee.
That's a reference to the previous questioning that Bondi went through just some weeks ago in front of a different House committee on this very thing, where you see here survivors of Jeffrey Epstein's abuse stood. They were in the audience. They were wearing shirts that talked about releasing the files. Let me bring in Ryan Nobles, who's live for us on Capitol Hill. So this is interesting. This is a real sort of shot across the bow to the White House, the Department of Justice, that they're subpoenaing now Pam Bondi. Ryan.
Yeah, and it's really born out of a sense of frustration from the members of.
And it pretty much goes on from there. So we already are seeing, in summary, I'm just going to say it in summary and move it on. The hearing was a high-profile congressional session scrutinizing how the Justice Department managed the release of the Epstein-related documents, the protection of victims' identities, and ongoing investigations, with Bondi defending her record and sharp criticism from Democratic lawmakers. So she just, diverted and baited. She avoided questions and things of that nature and praising Trump so she can keep her job, because all she has to do is praise him, praise her Lord and Savior, and she keep the job, and he'll keep her just for praising him alone, because that's what he likes. He likes people praising him. You praise him, he'll, Give you a nod. If you start fucking up his name, he'll let you go. And he won't think twice about it because he's a selfish, narcissistic shithead. But anyway, now let's move from politics to world news because something isn't right about this. Okay, so we're talking about world news here. Okay. Now, for this segment, I will be going back in time a little bit to Valentine's Day. And I learned is rooted in bloody sacrifices and church manipulations. But anyway, that's a whole nother video. Meghan and Harry shared a beautiful picture of their daughter Lilibet and with Meghan, and then Harry. It was gorgeous. It was a beautiful picture, as you can see here. Harry and Meghan, Meghan, picking flowers with her daughter, her beautiful red hair, and then Harry holding the daughter, and it was balloons there, but I cut it out. And this is when they were at Disneyland, I believe. Old pictures, not all on Valentine's Day, but I'm just trying to give you a gist of her daughter. Their daughter. Okay. However, then later I see another picture of the beautiful Meghan and Elizabeth sitting on a rock, and I should have put that on here, sitting on a rock together in front of the ocean. Love it, love it, love it, love it. But there's always someone missing from these photos. Now, this is an old photo. This is not a recent photo. This is an old photo. There's always someone missing from these photos, and it's giving me some Beyonce and Jay-Z Sir energy. Now, stay with me here, because it seems that Meghan and Harry, and maybe I missed a few posts. I don't know. Let me know below if I have. But it seems that McGarry, that's Meghan and Harry's name together, it seems that they're showing more pictures of Lilibet and less pictures of Archie. Why? Why is that? Why? I don't know. Why they're not showing Archie? Is it because Lilibet has long red hair and looks more like her Caucasian father and more than likely approved by the royal family and the media? Okay, especially the royal views from the royal family from the UK, I should have said. But I had done some digging. I'd done some digging a long time ago. And I've done some digging in genealogy they have. And as I researched, it's part albino. So yes, part albino. And I'm sure in her gene is in every Black person's gene, which is the roots of Prince Harry, Princess Diana, grandparents. And with the bloodline of King Charles, who is also descendants of Queen Charlotte, who was a redhead albino, believe it or not, although later they painted her Caucasian, but I digress. You see, this is why Lilibet, Harry, and Diana's hair are so reddish blonde. This is also why, even in the desert, this man was in the desert fighting war while in combat and in hot-ass California. He has never got a damn tan or look remotely like a freaking lobster. That is because he is part albino, because albinos cannot tan. Also, albinos could only be produced from a Black or African gene. Now, it could be born through any woman with a reproduction system, okay, to carry it. But it is created with some bloodline from a Black and African gene. Yeah, this is why true reddish blonde heads don't get tans and are extremely pale. Hell, some of them may not even realize it. Also, true albinos are white or redheads don't age like most Caucasians. Okay. Now, with that being said, and I believe I thoroughly explained it now, I still don't see why we haven't seen Archie lately. Does he look more like Meghan? His hair is it darker and and curly like Meghan's real hair? I don't know. Or does he look more like a mixed person? If this is the reason why this child has been hidden, this will piss me the hell off. Because all this time I would have thought McGarry were above the shame of their kids despite their appearance. Because love shouldn't have a color or status or need approval. I don't know. Tell me, maybe I'm wrong. I thought Meghan wasn't shallow. Now, I know some of you would say they may be protecting Archie from embarrassment or public scrutiny. They're going to do that regardless if they show the picture of the boy or not. So I don't think that's it. So tell me your thoughts below. And am I being paranoid, you guys? Am I being paranoid about this whole thing? Are McGarry well in their rights for not showing her son? Just tell me below. Tell me if I'm seriously just reading too much into this. Let me know below, because all I know is they've been praising the hell out of this girl. She's a gorgeous girl, yes, but we have not seen any pictures of Archie, and it's quite puzzling. I just want to point that out. Now let's move on from politics to celeb gossip. Okay, now we're going to talk about the Jackson family. So the Jackson family has officially made it known they do not like the new biopic. They hate it. Yeah, they say they hate it. And honestly, I'm not surprised. The Jacksons have spent decades fighting over their image, their legacy, and Michael Jackson's story, as it's been told. Every time Hollywood touches their name, it becomes a battle between creative interpretations and family truth. Now, here's the deeper layer. Now, biopics are never just movies, they're myths making, they're legacy shaping, okay? They decide how future generations remember someone. And the Jacksons know that. So when they say they hate the biopic, what they're really saying, you were writing our story without us. And that's a wound that goes back generations, from Joe Jackson's control to the media obsession with Michael. Now, this isn't about the movie, it's about ownership of the narrative. Now that we're on the subject about narratives, let's talk, because I'm moving fast here. I want to be in a long ass fucking show. Let's move on to Tyler Perry's latest celeb. Latest chess moves. Okay, now here's what's going on with Tyler Perry. BET is officially saying goodbye, and Tyler Perry is unloading his ownership in the platform. Paramount Skydance is shutting down the standalone streaming service and folding its catalog into Paramount Plus starting in June of 2026. As a part of the move, Paramount has purchased Tyler Perry Studios' minority stake in BET's Plus, which the filmmaker secured through a 2019 production deal. Now, financial deals were not disclosed, but Perry previously held a 25% ownership stake in the service. Yes, she did. Now, BET launched in September 2019, just before Viacom merged with CBS to form Paramount Global. Now, the platform quickly became a hub for original series, movies, and classic programming centered on Black storytelling and so on. Now, subscribers were able to pay $5.99 per month with ads or $9.99 without ads. I don't know how much I'll pay. Anyway, let me just keep moving on here. For access to more than 1,000 hours of content. However, Paramount now plans to consolidate that library under its flagship streamer. Now, as a part of the evolution, Paramount acquired Tyler Perry Studios' equity stake, in BET Plus. A Paramount representative said in a statement, "We share the ambition to expand the reach of BET content, and Tyler will continue to be a valued and important partner through its overall programming agreement." BET President Louis Carr also addressed staff in the memo, explaining the strategy behind the shift. Now, it says beginning in June, they are expanding their reach by making Paramount Plus the new home for BET content. So BET is going to move on to Paramount now. So you're going to see a lot of Tyler Perry movies there. So this powerful next step ensures the stories, they champion, yada, yada, yada. So just to sum it up, Tyler Perry has partnered up with Paramount. He pretty much combined BET with Paramount, so you're going to see a lot of his movies on Paramount now, not just on BET and Prime and pretty much every motherfucking where. It's now going to be on Paramount now. So you're going to see a whole bunch of flood of his movies and TV shows and plays and blah, blah, blah. That's pretty much what it is. So that is a huge development, and it's really a historical move for a Black man to do this. So he's breaking barriers and making a lot of historical moves. So congratulations, Tyler Perry. I'm so proud of him. Really, I am. Congratulations. All right, now let's move on to brain food here. And this is where it gets really, really deep. Now, pay attention here. I hope you guys got your thinking caps on, because I'm about to bring some schooling to you guys, and this is going to get real deep. Now, if you are laying your ass in the bed and not paying attention to me, I got my phone on the floor or the nightstand or on the couch on your lap, whatever, pick up the phone and pay attention to what I'm saying. Goddamn, I am not a podcast. If I want to be a podcast, I'd be on a podcast, okay? So you guys need to listen, get your ass up and listen to what I have to say, because this affects all of you. Okay, just want to point that out. Now, as I was saying, yes, you guys need to pay attention to what I'm saying. Now, because today's brain food is about something I see over and over again, because we need to talk about this. Okay? In politics, in celebrity culture, because we're going to talk about the victim mask, how people use threats to shift the narrative. Because we are seeing it with Pam Bondi and so many others, okay? I see this over and over again in politics, celebrity culture, and relationship and workplace everywhere. It's called the victim mask. And here's what it means. When people feel the walls closing in, Trump does it all the time. whether it's socially, politically, or emotionally, they don't always take accountability. Some people switch into a different mode, a survival mode, a narrative control mode. They put on the victim mask. Now, let me break it down clean. The victim mask is when someone says, don't look at what I did, look at what's happening to me. It's a psychological shield. It's a distraction technique. It's a way to flip the spotlight. And the time is always interesting. It usually shows up when their name is something they don't want it to be in. Now, the public is asking questions or asking accountability or knocking whatever crazy crap that you did, kind of like what they're doing with Trump and Pam Bondi, or the truth is getting too close. So you know what they do? So suddenly they're in danger now. They're the one in danger. So they're the one they're feeling are being attacked. So they're the one who needs protection now. Kind of like what's happening with Pam Bondi. Like, at least that's what she's claiming. And listen, real threats are real. Real danger is real. But the pattern is that's not what I'm talking about. Because the victim mask is not about safety. It's about control. It's about shifting the emotional energy of the room and off them. It's about making people feel sorry for you instead of questioning you. You know, some people go to that as a default when they feel guilty. It's about turning scrutiny into sympathy. A lot of people do it all the time. Your husband may do it, your partner may do it. Where you say, why you do so-and-so, so-and-so? He said, I can't believe you're making me feel this way. Why are you point blaming me and accusing me of these things? I thought you trusted me. This is what the relationship is going to be about. So you feel bad for even questioning him. That's once again your partner defaulting to the victim mode. Okay. And here's a deeper layer. The victim mask works because humans are wired to respond to distress. We're wired to protect, some of us anyway. Pam Bondi, obviously not. She protect the evil people. We're wired to comfort. We're wired to pass judgment when someone says they're in danger. Your mind, if you are an empathetic person and have some more confidence of integrity of a human decency, you automatically like have to protect this person. Some people don't. Bondi, no. Unless it's evil, she'll protect you. If it's not evil, she don't give two flying fucks. Now, we're wired to pause judgment when someone says they're in danger. So the victim mask hijacks that instinct. It says, if you feel bad for me, you won't look too closely at the situation. So some people do this when they're guilty. And that's why you have to stay sharp, because not every cry for help is cry for help. Sometimes it's a cry for control. That is first part of brain food. So stay aware. Here's what I want to end it with, this first part of brain food, because there's a second part of brain food that I'm going to actually discuss, and it gets very deep. Stay aware, stay grounded, and don't let the victim mask fool you, okay? Because it definitely will, okay? So now let's diversify away from the victim claim. Let's talk about how the Book of Enoch and historical documents systematically erase and minimize and demonize women and goddesses, because this is very important. Ladies, y'all actually should really be paying attention to this, seriously. Okay, because this has been going on, and it seemed to be a trend now where they are literally erasing women prints in biblical texts, historical texts, everywhere. It's like women goddesses are not even existing at all. We're there for a barrier for making babies. That's literally how they make you feel. So across the book Enoch in ancient Near Eastern history, you see the same goddamn pattern. Women are removed from stories. Goddesses are downgraded into idols. Female powers demonized. We're evil people. We always cause conflict. History don't say that, but whatever. Even in the TV series Lucifer, he made his mom the evil person, the one behind plagues and shit. She was the evil person. I did notice that, even though I love the TV series, but I did notice that. Female wisdom is punished. Like, if woman who's smart, she has to be put to death or decapitated, like they did to, the queens and stuff in the UK. Female divinity is erased. Now, this isn't a coincidence. It's a cultural editing. This is something that's been going on. Maybe not in the grotesque and severity of the past, but it's definitely still going on. So the Book of Enoch, as afterthoughts or punishments, the Book of Enoch is one of the clearest examples of how female figures are minimized. Women appear only as objects in the Watcher's story. The Watchers, the fallen angels, I mean, take women as wives. I mean, they take human women as wives, but the women themselves are barely described. We only hear them as wives or barrier for children or whatever evil crap they need to concoct, like eating the apple, convincing Adam to eat the apple. If they need the evil person to take place, they say, I want to do it. Their voices is missing. Their perspective is deleted. Their fate is described as an afterthought with prostitutes and shit. You know, in the first Enoch 19:2, the woman, here's what the women who made it with the angels are transformed into mythic beings, sirens. And in Greek manuscripts, creatures associated with seduction. Think about that. Now, this is symbolic. Women are blamed for male transgression, like I said in the Bible, you know, with Mary Magdalene. Women became the problem, not the angels who broke divine law. They became the problem for having a voice, like they said with Lilith before Eve, apparently. Even the manuscript disagreed on their fate. Greek, they become sirens. Sirens, you know, sirens, you know how siren is. Although they're calling mermaids and things of that nature, but sirens are the loud noises, irritating noises, as they call it now. Even the manuscript disagree on their fate. Okay? So this topic, they become peaceful. You know what I'm saying? In certain circumstances. They say it's peaceful because they become silent and they don't have a voice. Now, this tells you the original story was edited, altered, and reshaped, and the female role was unstable and negotiable and unimportant to the scribes. So they eradicated them from the stories altogether. Where are those stories? Are they completely eradicated? Are they hidden? How can we find out? You see, the Bible goddesses erased female power and flattened. Okay? Before the Bible was standardized, the ancient Near East was full of goddesses, believe it or not. Before the Bible was standardized, female goddesses were the primarily people being praised. Oh, yes. Dominated the praise world. Seriously, women was being praised more so than the men. Okay. Like Asherah, Inanna, Astarte, Anat, and of course, Isis. Yes. Now, these weren't small identities. They were major. Isis is still being praised. But when the patriarchal monotheism rose, these goddesses were erased, renamed, idols, demonized, written out of the divine story altogether, and called evil. Now, the Bible even hints of Azariah or Asherah of being worshipped alongside Yahweh or Yahweh. Then condemns her as being worshipped as a sin. It went from her being praised to worship her is a sin. Think about that. Women are automatically reduced to sin and evil and troublemakers, even though we don't have a history of being that way. But that's how it is in the Bible, and it's literally how it is right now. Like you see here, the female goddess statue being burnt up, and the only thing that's standing in its place is the gods. Is that a coincidence? No, it's not. Oh, I'm not done yet. Historical documents women as the first knowledge bearers, believe it or not. If you go way back before the Bible, women were the knowledge bearer. It was even told that the story of Yeshua was really a female, was goddess Isis, because she was the light bringer and all that stuff. And that's why Lucifer and Yeshua and all, you know, them have the similarities in their divine workings and their background, because that stories were borrowed from Isis. She was the person out teaching people divine and divinity and within yourself, but they changed it to a man. But, you know, I digress. So at first, women were the knowledge bearers. They were the priestess, the scribes, the healers, the astronomers, the midwives, the keepers of ritual knowledge. But as patriarchal system took over, these roles were stripped, reassigned to men, rewritten as forbidden, and reframed as witchcraft. Even women who practice in a divine gift, it's witchcraft, and witchcraft is evil, even though the person who's saying it is evil is practicing it themselves. But women are not allowed to do that. Even in Halloween, women were only elected to be a few characters, a witch, a prostitute, or something along those lines. That's it. Not a judge, a teacher, a goddess, just something evil and nasty. Now, the Book of Enoch even blames women for receiving forbidden knowledge from the Watchers. So the Book of Enoch was definitely added to pretty much primarily praise man. It was made, I mean, the stories themselves are original, but the person who reclaimed it and put it in the book that we read now definitely edited out the women. Definitely. Okay. So yes, Book of Enoch blames women for receiving forbidden knowledge from the Watchers, cosmetic adornment, astrology, and frames it as corruption. That was in the Book of Enoch. Now, this is the moment where female knowledge becomes sin and male control becomes divine order. Because that's when it literally kind of started. Because back in the day, women was primarily goddesses being praised and teaching and nurturing. And I mean, seriously, women ruled like everywhere, which is why they work so hard to get rid of them. Okay. Okay, so why the erasure happened? Because if you remove the feminine from divine, men become the only voice of God. Goddesses don't exist. Men become the only interpreters of law. Men become the only holders of power. Women become dependent on male authority. This is not spirituality. This is social engineering. So if you only have men being the divine order of goddesses and nurturer of both motherly and fatherly, then you have no need for a woman, even though without a woman, there will be no civilization, there will be no humankind. But a man managed to convince people that women are needed, but we are needed. Without us, there would be no existence. And that's in all forms of life. But the Book of Enoch was banned for a reason. The Book of Enoch was excluded from the Bible because it contained too much angelical rebellion, which is the truth. Too much cosmic knowledge, which is also the truth. Too much divine complexity, even though it took out the women. Too much material that didn't fit the new patriarchal order, but also because it preserved older mythic structures where divine was not strictly male, because they did talk about some female entities and powerful entities in the Book of Enoch. It wasn't solely just on male divinity. Okay, not so grotesque like in the freaking Bible where women are just not praised at all. So removing Enoch flattened the cosmology into a male-only hierarchy, which is what we're trying to move away from now. Okay. Now, the core truth for your brain food segment here. Here's the line that would hit your art. And here's the line that I want you guys to really hit in your home, in your brain, my females. If you erase the feminine from divine, you erase the feminine from humanity, and then pretend life can continue without us. That's the nonsense that needs to be exposed. You cannot erase feminine from divine because feminine is divine. Bearing life is divine. You can't pretend it didn't exist because it does exist. Okay? So let's talk about the timeline here. Okay? When did it actually start? Okay, well, let's go back here. We're going to go back thousands of years. We're going to go back to 3000 to 1200 BCE. That's before Christ. All right, we're going to talk about Inanna, Ishtar, who rules love, war, and justice. Oh, yes. And kingship. We're going to talk about Azra or Asherah, who is worshipped as the consort of high god, Il. The priestess hold political and spiritual authority. Women are scribes, astronomers, healers, and ritual leaders. This is pre-biblical era, before biblical times. Then we're moving on to the rise of the patriarchal, the monotheism, okay? The male-only priesthood emerged. Yahweh worship rises among Hebrew tribes. Asherah, poles are destroyed. Goddesses worship is criminalized. They hated women. Women was being too good at what they did. They had to go. Female prophets appear but are memonized or erased in later edits. So if a woman couldn't be erased, then make her evil or a prostitute or convincing a man to do something. Women rose shit from public to domestic. Like your job is to shadow and support your men only. You don't supposed to have a voice. You just stand there and look pretty. The divine becomes male. The feminine becomes idolatry or sin. Yeah, and then we enter in the early biblical editing, which is 600 to 400 BCE. The Old Testament is compiled and redacted, heavily redacted. Stories are rewritten to center male lineage. Eve becomes the origin of sin, not wisdom. Female identities are erased and demonized. Women appear mainly as wives, mothers, or warnings and shit. The feminine is rewritten as dangerous, deceptive, or secondary. It don't exist. Hell, they even got so far and cocky and arrogant and stupid and said men, they created humankind in our image. Who is the our? They went and said, holy, the Father, Son, and the Holy Ghost. That doesn't even make sense. It was literally the Father, Son, and the Mother. But they want the Mother. He said he made us from dirt and whatever. Just lied. Anyway, so the Book of Enoch. Let's talk about the Book of Enoch because it needs to be discussed. Okay? Women appear as only as objects in the Watcher's narrative. Angels take human women. The women have no voice, which you can see there. Their fate is described differently across manuscript, proof of editing. Women are blamed for receiving forbidden knowledge, like they were supposed to receive forbidden knowledge. The church kind of followed this, which why they say women learning things and having brains was a sin. In the Victorian age, it was highly praised. You see a little bit of that when you watch the TV series Ghost with Hetty. She tell you the way of life in those days. Those are facts. Okay. Female adornment is framed as corruption. Women become symbols of temptations, not participate in divine story. No, not that. No, no. You're not supposed to have a voice or brain. Learning too much they would just say, I think it was a disease in their brain. It overpowers their brain and they can't do that. It's bad for their health to learn too much. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So the Second Temple period between 200 BCE and 70 CE, goddesses vanished from official religion altogether. Male scribes control sacred texts. Female spiritual roles shrink further. Wisdom, Sophia is personified as a female, then absorbed into male theology, which is crazy. I mean, it's literally right there. The feminine is abstracted and not embodied. And then we enter into early Christianity, which is 50 to 300 CE. Women led on early churches, then get erased. Mary Magdalene is a leader teaching apostle originally. Later texts recast her as a repentant sinner and a prostitute. Female apostles disappear from canon. Gnostic texts with powerful feminine imagery are banned and a sin to even read them. Free-thinking women are killed, castrated, thrown in rivers, burnt at the stake. If they have divine power of witchcraft or just their religion in general, they're burnt like witches. Mm-hmm. The feminine is sanitized, silenced, and sexualized. Only that's the only thing you're good for. You're not good for anything else. This is what Trump want to take it back to. Not going to happen. So canon formation between 300 to 400 CE. The Bible is finalized and the feminine is gone. Church councils decide which books count. Enoch is removed entirely because it was some female praising in there and they didn't want that. And it was speaking too clear of the spirituality and the actual missing pieces of the Bible. And they didn't like that. Even though it was male dominant, they tried to condense it to male dominancy all together, but not completely, because some stories won't make sense. Now, female-centered texts are excluded. God becomes exclusively male in language and imagery, and that's it. Divine feminine is erased from the official record. And then we enter in the medieval Christianity era, 400 to 1500 CE. Women's spiritual power becomes only witchcraft. So if you have power, it's witchcraft and it's evil. Midwives, healers, and herbalists are persecuted. Female knowledge becomes criminal. Goddesses' symbols are demonized. Women are barred from leadership. Hence why Jasmine Crockett couldn't even be a Senate. They couldn't even elect. Well, we know the elections was rigged, but you get what I'm saying? they can't even elect Kamala Harris or Hillary Clinton because we have these older people sticking to an old regime. Leading this regime is their cult leader, Trump, like a fucking pressure valve that needs to be removed. A constant virus that can't be eradicated or erased, even with penicillin. It's going to have to be surgically removed. So, women's spiritual power becomes witchcraft, which is crazy. Now, let's move up a little bit. The feminine becomes a threat to be controlled. Now, the pattern continues in subtle ways when you enter the modern era, such as now, 1500 to present. Women are still framed as helpers, okay? Not leaders, just helpers. Feminine divinity is absent from mainstream theology. Ancient goddesses are completely dismissed as myth and not history, or just, recasted as men. Women's spiritual authority is questioned and minimized. The erasure becomes tradition now. Like, God can't be a woman. Like, are you crazy? I think I just saw an episode actually on, forgot the name. The episode that parlayed from Sheldon. I forgot the episode and I just got through watching it. But anyways, she was doing a newscasting and it was with the pastor of the church and they're trying to broadcast the church, trying to get people to come to church and the little fair they had going on to raise money and stuff like that. He said, what God gave us is beautiful, rather, isn't it good? Paraphrase. She said, or she. She's like, we don't know if God is a female. And he was like, well, the Bible says it's a man, so it's he. She said, or she. And her career got lynched. She got hateful notes, both for male and women. She lost her job. Well, she quit her job, but she was going to lose it anyway, just for claiming a woman. She said, well, it said in our image, we bear the life, we bear the fruit. It won't be no life without us. So how can a man? And she was laying down some facts. And I was like, wow, we are in those current times right now. Although this TV series is supposed to be depicted from the 90s or the early 2000s. Oh yeah, I forgot the name of the damn TV series, seriously, and I just watched it. It's crazy. Now, before I close, although there is a video that I would like for you guys to see, and I thought it was in there. I really want you guys to see it because she laid out some law. It was beautiful. You guys got to see this video. I have to show this video. I got to show the video. It was too good. Let me see if I can put it up right quick. Do I have it? Please tell me I have it on here. Yep, I sure do. I have the video. I'm going to put the video up. Just give me a moment, okay, you guys? Just a moment. Let's give you a little ocean music here. There we go. Bam, bam, bam. All right, I am back, ladies and gentlemen. Here's the video I want you to... This girl, woo, she laid down some facts. I was like, preach, 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 preach. We need to start learning about our female goddesses. We need to learn about female leaders. I have been producing videos. I'm going to start just doing them because I do love my men. I do love my men. I love what they did to this country, the ones who contribute in a positive manner, not evil. I love you. I love you. I love you. Thank you so much. But we need to learn about females as well. Okay? Thank you for your... never mind. Here, take a listen to this, you guys.
The oven doesn't make the meal. The chef does. Right? I just saw this. And this was in response to women claiming that they are the creators in this place and questioning why God has been framed as male when the people who create in this realm are women, right? And I just want to point out one thing before I get into my tirade. The Bible says we were made in God's image. So if we're made in God's image, if I believe the Bible, right? But just to people who do, if I'm listening to the Bible and we were made in God's image and women are the ones who create life, what does that mean, you guys? Men, you're very logical. Let's follow the logic. Yeah, let's follow the logic. If we were made in God's image and women are the ones who create, but then women aren't the ones who create, right? That's where you're going to go next. We're just the oven. We're just a tool of creation, which then puts creation in the hands of men because God is the father, right? So men are who are actually creating. So let me ask you something. If you take a bunch of raw materials, right? You want to make enchiladas. You take the tortillas, you take the chicken, you take the enchilada sauce, you take the cheese, you take it all, and you stick it in the oven. You just stick each thing in the oven. Will you have enchiladas at the end? No. You won't have enchiladas. So then the ingredients don't actually create anything. And all that men provide is one ingredient, the fertilizer. And yet they think they have a right to stake the claim of all of creation. They provide one ingredient and they think that makes them the chef. Someone else in the comments said that we don't actually create children because the creation is gifted from God. I don't have to assemble a gift. I don't have to source the materials for a gift. That's not what I have to do. That's not a gift, okay? That's a way to diminish women's contribution in creation. And I'm gonna tell y'all something. I want you to look around in the world. This is what happens when you disrespect your creators, when you put them underfoot and you seek to control them and abuse them. This is exactly what happens, okay? It doesn't work. A society that doesn't value their creation, their creators, won't care for its creation, and it's doomed to fail. This is what we're seeing right now. As I'm talking about this, I want you guys to understand something really plain. This is fucking absurd that we're even having this conversation. Like, this is stupid. Women are the obvious creators. They're the obvious creators. My response to that man and his comment was, I'll tell you who absolutely didn't create the meal: the supermarket that housed one ingredient. I ran into the supermarket real quick, grabbed this one ingredient, took me less than 10 seconds, and the supermarket has the nerve to claim that they were responsible for the creation. And let me make something clear. It is a vital ingredient, absolutely. So is water, so is air. Does water or air have claim to my creation? I want you guys to think about how crazy it would be that if I went to an art store and I got my paint from an art store, I came back, I had all the other like raw materials for painting. I painted that painting, and the person at the art store, because I brought the paint from him, said he's the actual person who created the painting. We would understand that as absurd, right? Because the alchemy is what led to the creation, and the alchemy doesn't happen absent the woman. The woman provides everything else that's essential. Everything else, right? Everything. Her body, her literal life force. And men keep trying to reduce us as just the oven. We are the whole fucking kitchen, and we're the chef, sweetheart. You've misunderstood. You are one ingredient on a shelf, and the market is full of your ingredients. Full of your ingredients. Like, I really want you to understand that the shelves are full, and you want to pretend that you created anything. You didn't create anything. You didn't create. And I think this is a stupid conversation. We need to dead this. Obviously, the women are the creators here. That is scientific. That's spiritual. That's common sense. That's just basic understanding. And I want you guys to understand how ridiculous this conversation is. And if we're having this ridiculous conversation about who the creators are, what else has been so distorted that we simply can't see the truth of it? Like, we're so far from the truth. We have been propagating the lie for so long that we treat the lie as a legitimate thing that we need to evaluate. It's stupid. There isn't a human born, living, walking ever in existence that didn't come through the body of a woman. We literally channel the souls. We birth it through our gate. Do you know that our cervix, I've done the math, right? I have the motion calculus to look at the motion of words. Cervix and divine match exactly. Womb and sun match exactly. We have a sun inside of us that gestates life. We birthed it through our divine gate, and men have the nerve to call themselves the creator. I'm so tired of this conversation. It's stupid. It's stupid. Obviously, we're the creators. See, what we're actually having a conversation about is your requirement to respect your creator, because you're the one who placed the creator above all, right? Men did that. Men said God, the Father, is the creator, and they're above all. By that very logic, then, if that was if you misattributed that, and you did, and it's actually the mother who creates life, right? Then you've already put us above. That's what you're struggling with. You can't reconcile the truth of that, because then you would understand that you have a responsibility to treat the creators here as creators with reverence, with respect and care. And you don't want to have to do that. You want to be able to extract whatever you want from our bodies and use it however you want, right? I want you guys to get the fuck over it quickly, because the grandmother is here and things are shifting, and you're about to have a rude damn awakening, because the real creators are waking up to the truth, and there's nothing you can do to stop it. We're understanding the power that we have to create civilization, and there's nothing you can do. There's nothing you can do. You're powerless the second we remember our power. I'd be scared too.
Beautiful. I'm gonna put her handle down at the bottom as well. Beautiful. I have to give her a serious freaking love, because that was beautiful. Yes, she needs that. Absolutely freaking literally. Hell freaking yes. And a goddamn salute. Yes. Absolutely freaking literally. And let's give her some applause. Yes. Now, as I was saying, when you erase the feminine from the divine, you erase the feminine from humanity, and then pretend life can continue without us. Okay? That's seriously not even psychologically or scientific true. It's stupid. And it's dumb. And for years during the Pisces year, we believed that stupid shit, even though we kind of didn't believe it. We have to believe it. You know what I mean? Every ancient culture knows the truth. Life doesn't begin without women. Civilization doesn't survive without women. And the divine doesn't function without the feminine. A lot of men, they can't get along with just themselves. They'll tell you. And the divine doesn't function without feminine. So when the Bible, the Book of Enoch, and centuries of historical documents remove women, erase goddesses, and silence feminine power, that's not spirituality. That's editing. And the fact that we're still here, still rising, still remember, that's the part they couldn't erase. They're trying to erase us. They're trying to kill us. They're trying to silence us. They're trying to do everything in their possible power to dim our light, because they're afraid that if we do it, we may do it better without violence. Women don't like result in fighting. Fighting is the last result. We have other ways to get what we want than trying to beat the hell out of each other. No one try to get their face scratched up or anything of the nature. I mean, no, not doing that. So today we covered wars, threats, Hollywood drama, 3 different worlds, some pattern, power, control. Yeah. And I just want to close it here. I mean, look, whether it's Trump, Iran, Pam Bondi shifting the spotlight, or the Jacksons fighting for the legacy of Tyler Perry, breaking historical records, it all comes down to who gets to tell the story. And y'all know I'm here to make sure the story is told clearly, honesty, and with layman and ways which you can understand, and without the noise. I'm Keisha, and it has been a very, very, very wonderful time. And that is the clarity for today. Let's talk again soon. And don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe. And y'all have a wonderful night. Bye.
We see you, we remember. I am the storm. I am the silence. I am the truth unveiled.
Yourself. You are not